I have a good one. I have a new one. I have a new good one. This is good one. This is good. This is so fun. This is the most Hasidic nigga I ever came down to. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Ayay v'sein sachatayim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, shimcha be'emet. V'sein sachatayim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, shimcha be'emet. V'sein sachatayim, Shimcha be'emet, v'sein tzachatoy, l'chol ha'bayitchim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, Shimcha be'emet. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, Yazik nisheni samcha beis Yisroel. Ayay v'sein tzachatoy, l'chol ha'bayitchim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, Shimcha be'emet. V'sein tzachatoy, l'chol ha'bayitchim, l'chol ha'bayitchim, Shimcha be'emet. La 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 Last Tuesday night I was sitting in some private affair with someone, and the person said to me his favorite words in davening is Allah tzadikim al chasidim, just like that. So this came down, and I was about to continue with the regular pasuk, al pleitas be'sofem al geri yatzed, and then we jumped in the nigun to the saint sachar tov l'chol ha'bodchim. You should give good sachar, good reward. Reward's a weird word because it's not really a reward. It's deeper than reward.
Recompense.
Sure.
Payback. All right.
Sure. Stuff. Just give good stuff to those who trust you. Because then he said, actually, these are really the words that I really connected. But it was already halfway through the nigun, so I couldn't throw away the first part. So we're just singing the first part and the second part, and hopefully in the middle everyone will find themselves. And I don't know, I came home the next day, I started dancing the Chassidim with my wife and girls, and remember in the computer room. Give good stuff to the people that trust you. Just good stuff, whatever it is. All right, Chavra, thank you so much for coming out. Erev Pesach, a million things to do. This is a big schus to learn right before Pesach. Our last time getting together before Pesach. First of all, Matzah Tov, Mishpachat Davidovich. We start off, unfortunately, unfortunately, I have to get there. It's all the stuff we have to keep on davening for, but Simchas. Your mishpacha should just be haunted by simchas. Should be running after you guys a million times over. They have a grandson, Baruch Hashem. A grandson, simchas should be running after you guys. Mamish. Amen. Amen. And on that note, also, it's Amy's mother's yortzeit tonight. Yosefa bat Pinchas. Neshama, up there, breaking down whatever mechitzas there are between seeing how Hashem is, between how everything is perfect and seeing how everything is perfect. Come down. Should not be any distance between the two. No distance whatsoever between the two. And also, tonight is very, very important. Very important stuff. I want to tonight to the learning, very important. I just got an email from a dear friend in New York that a mutual friend of ours, his daughter was born and this baby needs a big refuah shlema for the refuah of Zahava Rivka Bat Chana. And I wrote that down, right? Yizrat Hashem. Rivka Bat Chana. And also we continue learning the refuah shlema of Chaim, Simcha ben Gittel, Esther, Leah, and Meir Shalom ben Esther, for the Elui Neshama of Eliezer ben Eliyahu Aryeh, Miriam bet Eliyahu, Zcharia ben Yaakov, and unfortunately there's a few more names that we have to add on to the refuah shlema list. First of all, obviously continue stronger than ever refuah shlema of Michal Moshe Ze'ev ben Yehudit, Binyamin Nachman Mordechai ben Ilana, and for Alter Baruch ben Sarah, Shoshana Resa Bas Ahuva, and for the refuah shlema of Tana's your grandfather Amram ben Frecha. I'm so happy you're here with us and the learning Shema Mashbi. Give him infinite kochot. And for the refuah shlema of Rav Natan Daniel ben Malka. And the refuah shlema of another friend of ours, Chefti Bachovava Bat Zahava, and also for Shena Esther Bat Sarah Imenu, another dear friend of ours. Hi, can this list please just be over already? Yeah. Yeah. So only simchas in this list from now on. Only simchas. And add any names, please say the names to yourselves right now. All other names need to be said. This is just what's in front of me. And this list should really just cease to exist, at least, because there's no need to daven for them anymore, because everyone's going to be doing good. Refuah shlema. And for the refuah shlema of Nomi Esther Bat Tzvia. Wow, okay. I'm going to do something really, for me it's very gutsy, because, and you'll see why. I'm on a total Rabbi Nachman trip the last few months, so it's like I'm going to continue tripping down that valley, which seems to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And so if that's okay, we'll just follow the Uman Brick Road. We'll go down there. Today when we posted about the Shiur, so someone asked, will it be halachic or will it be spiritual? No, it was a serious question. Like, will it be a halacha Shiur on Pesach or will it be, not...
And it wasn't me.
No.
Combine them both.
Right. It didn't. No. It didn't. God forbid. Mean. Is the spiritual not going to be halachic? You know what I mean? It wasn't the stira Hashem. But it meant, because when it comes to there's learning for Pesach. We all know, my God, how much do you have to learn for Hilchot Pesach? Where do we start? Where do we end? It doesn't end. The laws of Pesach. Tonight, I think that it's really, really that answer to that question: is it halachic or is it spiritual oriented? The answer is yes. Is it halachic or spiritual oriented? Yes or no? But no. But yes. Friends, you know that when people are searching for what they're supposed to be doing, the last thing that they think is, I might get to the answer by definitely removing what I don't have to deal with in life. The answer is almost always, I'll find it, I'll keep on searching until I find it. And then I'll get there, and then I'll understand that this thing is my calling and this is what I have to work on. And I want you to listen really, really, really deep right now, because I really think that we have to completely shift the way that we define a spiritual search, a search for our neshamas. There's so much rushing right now between my head and my heart. There's so much back and forth now, so I apologize if it's not as coming down as I could dive in for another 30 years to try to give over what I'm feeling. Hopefully tonight will just be it won't do it justice, but just a little bit of it. That's the truth. Our sustenance is almost always the things that we're unaware of consciously. Our batteries, what keeps us going and what keeps us striving for more, is not necessarily because there's something out there and I just don't know what it is, but one day I'll find it. That's not really what keeps us going. The search is not for the unknown is not what keeps us going. That which we already have, but we're not aware that it keeps us alive, is what keeps us going. So far, so good.
No, could you repeat it one more time?
I have to repeat it many more times. Gewalt. Baruch Hashem. How many breaths have you taken since you walked into this room? Who here has thought about who here has thought about their breath since they walked in here right now? Besides the
just the yoga instructor.
Right, besides the yoga instructor. I mean, I thought about my breath because I walked in here and I smelled Bina's baked goods. Obviously. But do any of us conscious of the fact that our breathing, just our breathing, has kept us alive for the last 5 minutes? Just that which keeps us alive is what we're unaware of. Is that getting a little bit clearer?
Yeah.
That which keeps us alive is usually what we're mostly unaware of. And we think that we will know what our life sustenance is all about once we reach a final place, because right now we're not, even though Baruch Hashem we're alive. So what we're going to be doing tonight is a piece that I was so excited to do a few years ago. I was so excited to do it. Sometimes I'm not sure how is this going to go or not. We'll have to work really hard during the learning. And then sometimes I'm like, oh no, I'm so excited. This is just going to be like smooth sailing, because this is going to be so dynamite. It's going to, we're just going to be flying. And it was probably the most depressing feeling I ever had when we left. I don't know who was there. You'll see the text, you might know. Well, you might not see, because I, Baruch Hashem, spent a long time just preparing it this time better. Because I felt that when you have a chance to grasp something so infinite, but because, which happens a lot with Rabbi Shlomo's language, we get caught up with words, so you feel like, wow, like we've been saying the last few weeks, the guy could be Beethoven, and instead he's learning how to play, dun, 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 right? So it kills you, right? It mamish kills you. So, I want to share something outside, and then we're going to go into the text. Mamish, go right into the text. One of the things that I know we're so big on here, and it makes me so confident that we have to keep on learning stronger and stronger, and feeling that which we learn on a much more real way, to experience that which we learn in a real way, is because none of us come here to learn, or I think in our lives even on our own, none of us are really learning now unless it has to do with my life. Unless what I learn has to do mamish with my life, not the big picture of the fixing, the rectification of my soul. Like, I don't know what that means even. I have no idea. Everything's a tikkun of our neshama. I don't even know what that means, what those concepts mean. Fixing my neshama, I don't know what that means. But I know that unless the learning shows up in every relationship in my life, my neshama won't be satisfied. My neshama, not anymore these days, I feel like in a beautiful way we're hopefully getting near to a place where we're done with feeling like it's enough to learn very high esoteric concepts. I have to see what I'm learning, like we said last week, in the mirror. B'chol dor vador, chayav adam lir'ot et atzmo. What I'm learning, I want to see it right there in front of me. And if what I'm learning, I walk away saying, wow, that was so high, but that has nothing to do with my life, then I'm not going to say we're wasting time, because there's no such thing, God forbid, as a lost moment when it comes to Talmud Torah. But our neshamas are getting more and more delicate and sensitive. And it's so beautiful that the calling of today, especially from the youth, and remember when I say youth, it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with the yearning for a more beautiful tomorrow. That's how Rabbi Shlomo defined youth, based on Rabbi Nachman. A yearning for a more beautiful tomorrow puts you into the young category, because the older category, the older world of cynicism and sarcasm doesn't really believe that there could be a more beautiful tomorrow. But what we're trying to do today, where we're at today, is that I don't want anyone in here, or whoever's learning with us online, and by the way, first of all, I apologize to so many emails have been coming in since Purim. I'm trying to, and I will get B'ezrat Hashem to all of them, and it makes me so thrilled, happy. We once thought we would try like a blog of just the shiur, just the learning, so that everyone can participate in what's going on after the shiur, which is when really it counts. Sitting here is awesome, but that's not really. You all know, obviously. That's just a prep for then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's how it is. So I want us here that if we're learning very deep things, it's very important that after we learn, or while we're learning, where is it in my home? Where is it in my life? Always. Mamash. So important. And tonight, when we're getting ready for Pesach, we have a chance tonight. I'm not going to say to fix our neshamas, because I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. I barely know what it feels like. I have moments. But I want it to be very much here. Pesach is the night of an infinite revelation of our chosenness. It's so high that, I remember, I'm sure I told you, it's so high that there's so many things going on that you could lose your mind. Literally lose your mind. Remember I told you the first thing that Rabbi Akiva Eger would do when he came home from shul, at the Seder table, and it was all beautiful, it was set so beautifully. Remember the story? It was set so beautifully and everything was in its place. And he came and he saw everything was so set, and he was so nervous to mess things around. And he realized, this is crazy. And he mamish took the tablecloth and just threw it off. He's like, I'm a ben chor. I can. I'm a free person. I can't worry about this stuff tonight. I always say, I wonder what his wife was thinking. But, you know.
Didn't he write a big Perush on Gerushin?
Nate, you're still in top Purim mode. Baruch Hashem. So you could, like I once asked Reb Chaim Kramer, I once heard him say, there's so many things to do. There's so many different inyanim. It's like, how could you really prepare for Pesach, for real? And I'm just talking spiritually. What about all the non-spiritual stuff? Well, tonight, what I want to do is understand what cleaning has to do with Pesach. Besides chametz. Besides just finding chametz, what is it about the cleaning? Matzah b'diuk kashur. Is it just so I find chametz? What is it? What is it with the cleaning? So, one thing that we're doing, and you see it now, and you see it when you move, is that when you clean out stuff, you always feel so good when you fill those garbage cans, right? Garbage bags filled with stuff which you realize you don't need anymore. But wait, isn't that weird? You're so happy getting rid of something that belongs to you. Are you against it? You're not against it. You just don't need it anymore. And that process of elimination is the beginning of the cleansing, of realizing how great it feels, and to be able to either throw away or give out what can be given out. Getting rid of stuff is an unbelievable purification. That's I'm just talking physically right now, getting rid of stuff. Now, obviously, can you imagine going into your neshama a little bit and packing up garbage bags of stuff? Garbage bags. And you realize it's stuff you really don't need. It's not that it does bad to you per se, it just takes up space. And what we've been learning and talking about, that these Torahs, Bezrat Hashem, are always creating more space instead of consuming space. So Chazal was so smart, like the whole cleaning frenzy is not just because you have to, not just Chas v'Shalom Chomet should be found or not be found. That's obvious, but on a deeper level, it's so that because when you get rid of that which you don't need, you're beginning to see, wait a second, you mean I don't need to carry all that baggage on me? What about I have to figure things out? I have all this stuff I have to figure out in my life. I didn't get through it yet. Who has gotten through a millionth of the things that goes on in their neshamas? When do you get through it? By the time you get through one thing, you have 5 other things that are cluttering. Who gets through anything? Okay, so we're beginning to see that this cleansing, this cleaning, is a huge, huge, huge thing. That there is stuff which might even be holy or be good, but I don't need it anymore in my life. I don't need it. This gets very tricky when it comes to spirituality, because I'm even going to say something very crazy, Charif, right now. There might even be drachim in Avodas Hashem. There might even be ways, in spiritual ways, of different ways to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we know, listen, it's important to be connected to all the tzaddikim, so you have to learn what everyone says, and it's true. But you know what happens to you sometimes when you drink from everyone's fountain? You're left with nothing. You're left with mamish, mass confusion. You're left with the whole balagan going on in your heart. So Pesach is the time where I realize to become a free person means I'm even free. I'm becoming so free that I can even say this holy way isn't for me. Not by knocking it, God forbid. That's the trick. Don't knock it if it's not for you. Just say, Gewalt, this is not I don't think this is my way, and that's okay. That's fine. Not only is it fine, you have to. You have to work in that direction. We're very scared. We're very like paranoid religion where we're always freaked out all the time. Maybe spiritually I'm messing things up. When this famous Torah, Rabbi Nachman, the Midrash says in Torah Tet Likutei Maharan, when the sea split, which we'll be celebrating 7th day of Pesach, the miracle was that the sea split. No, Rabbi Nachman says the miracle was that the sea split into 12 different gates, right? Because each person went through from his own shape, from his own tribe, found the gate of water, which is Shayach, bless you, which is Shayach just for him. Wait a second, I'm a universalist. I want to taste from everybody. That's great, brother. Taste from everyone. But each person has their own Sha'ar LaHashem. That's your thing. So what we're doing on Pesach is that we're really, and really it starts from Purim, is that we're trying so hard to prepare ourselves to receive the utmost by letting go of even holy things which clutter our minds and our souls. That's a hard thing to hear. That's a very hard thing to hear. I think if it wasn't for Purim Ad Lo Yada, we couldn't hear such a thing. But Baruch Hashem, Purim ripped down all these illusions that we can hear these things now and understand, wow, what's my point? To be connected to everything and feel like I have a shaykhus to everything that's going on? Or to begin to understand what Torah is shayach for my neshama? Whose teachings are my teachings? So having said that, this is the same piece that we did a number of years ago, but it's completely rearranged, and it is intense. It is so strong. I'm not even scared to disappoint anyone, because this is atomic fire, this Torah from Rabbi Nachman. This is out of this world, and I think that with the intro we just did, we might have a deeper chance to begin to understand what this teaching is all about. One of you might have gotten a paper with some of my writing on the back page. Thank you. Thank you. Ruth, you have, yeah? Okay. All right. Okay, this is Rabbi Shlomo speaking, pouring out his heart and soul. Everyone wants to be free. But how do I start believing that I could become free? How do I get my mind out of Egypt? The Zohar HaKadosh says that a baby does not know whom their father or mother are until it eats bread. Any of you ever heard this concept before? Gemara says this too. You've heard it before. It's a famous chazal. Something about the bread, when once a child eats bread, that's the first time they have a very conscious connection between themselves and their parent. Okay? Just take it for what it's worth for now. You don't have to. I mean, we have to understand everything. But if we really spent any more time on this, it would make my mind take away. That means, Rabbi Shlomo says, that bread, mamish, gives strength to my mind to be connected to those who love me. If that's what Chazal say, that's what bread must symbolize. Okay? Only after I eat bread do I know what life is all about. I know who my father and mother are. Matzah gives my mind strength too. But it's working from another side. Eating matzah gives me strength to be connected to myself and to all who are important to me. But this connection is done without thinking about it. Okay. Good luck, right? Okay, let's now, for a few minutes, talk about this outside. Something about bread. What bread does to the body, to the mind, is that it gives it strength. What strength? that I begin to think about things and I consciously somehow connect that these are my parents. The truth is we should maybe spend more time inside the Gemara, inside the Zohar Kodesh about this. But for now, this is what Chazal is saying. The bread gives my mind strength. To what? To use my mind in a deeper way. And to begin to understand who am I close to in life. Where do I come from? Matzah also gives my mind a lot of strength. But what kind of strength does it give my mind? To be connected to all those things that are close to me, but not by what you'd say maybe hitbonut, not by thinking about it too much. It somehow gives my mind strength to be connected to things without using my mind. Intuitively. For now, let's call it intuitively. It's going to get, trust me, it will definitely get clearer than the first paragraph, okay? But we have to go through this, okay? It's like, this is what we have to do. This is like the first day you come to, Breslov College and you're like, oh, we heard it's really cool, and we come here like, what? That guy Katz gave a whole thing about, like, I have to talk about Torah that I have to do with my life. What am I going to do with this one? So wait. Reb Nachman says, there are two kinds of minds, mochin. There's a slave mind and a free mind. A slave mind, mamish, has 10,000 excuses. Everybody's drowning in something. Egypt is all about getting out of what you drowned in. Everyone's tied to something, chained to something. So we all really need Rahmanis, we need compassion on our souls, and just get out of it. Get out of whatever it is that is holding me down. We continue. You see what it is. Just like it was in Egypt, everybody goes through the plagues, witnessing tremendous miracles, but they're still in Egypt. Now what is he referring to? Who's still in Egypt after seeing all these plagues? 4/5 of Am Yisrael stayed in Mitzrayim after witnessing the most incredible miracles that ever took place. Nachon? And even the chevra that stayed, meaning even those that actually got out of Egypt, when did they actually leave? The last second, before it would be too late. You and I in our lives, we've seen 10 plagues, we've seen crazy stuff, we've gone through a lot of things, and yet what? Our mind still tells us, I don't know if I could really make the jump. I don't know if I could really conquer that which I need to conquer in life. I don't know if I have the kelim. I don't know if I have the vessels to do it. Second line over here in this paragraph, to really leave the things you are tied to mamish leave all the things you had excuses for, is the greatest test in the world. Everyone talks about how beautiful it would be if they could set themselves free from whatever is holding them back. But unfortunately, most people can't let go. Therefore, Ibn Nachman says something very strong. Okay, so first of all, can anyone here relate to the fact that there are things that I know I'm just using excuses in my life as to why I'm not snapping out of it? There's always excuses. Rabbi Shlomo, I think maybe he says it later, they're even holy excuses. But I have excuses as to why I didn't snap out of what I have to be, what I have to get out of. Whatever is holding me back, from mamish shining, from mamish growing, from mamish living the Torah that I learn, from experiencing the Torah that I learn. I say, there's still all these excuses, whatever the reasons are. Look, if I had I'm not talking about myself, but I've heard this from a lot of people that have said to me, look, Shlomo, if I grew up with a mother and father like you had, then obviously I wouldn't be stuck in what I'm stuck with. Now, those statements are irrelevant. They don't mean anything in this world. If only I had that's an excuse. It might be a holy excuse, but it's an excuse. Well, if I had, the metabolism that you had, I wouldn't suffer so much from other health issues. Okay. If. Moshe Rabbeinu had the greatest excuse in the world. Why not to take on PR for a Jewish nation with the stutter of all stutters? But something happened with Moshe Rabbeinu when he realized, I'm a free person. I'm free even before I left Egypt. So here, Reb Shlomo, and based on Rabbi Nachman, it's really very much Reb Shlomo's way of understanding Rabbi Nachman, because I think that if you showed this to a Breslover who grew up in Breslov his whole life, he'd say, I never saw these words before in my life in Rabbi Nachman. So it's really very heavily influenced by Reb Shlomo. I'm asking you all to really open your hearts very, very deep and push yourselves in a very special way tonight to understand the following. How do you, so therefore Reb Nachman says something very strong. So how do you get out of Egypt? Let's say you want to. Let's say you, mamish, you made the decision, I'm done. I'm done with whatever's been holding me back. How do you eventually get out? Bechipazon, which is how it describes our exodus of Egypt. You got to get out fast. And how do you run out of Egypt? Reb Nachman says something unbelievably deep. How fast can I walk while I'm thinking? Very slow. When you're talking to someone and you're engrossed in conversation, you walk very slowly. But if you want to run, you have to stop thinking. Nike.
No, you're not.
So again, how do you run out of Egypt? My mind is so strong, but I am not my mind. I'm stronger. I have to stop my mind. I want to explain that sentence before. You know, everyone always says a teaching for the Baal Shem Tov, but it's confusing. The teaching is you are where your thoughts are. But it's not you are your thoughts. Okay? You are where your thoughts are because you end up spending time thinking about that where your thoughts are leading to. But you're not your thoughts. You don't have a soul. You are a soul and you have a body. Do you understand the difference? We're not our thoughts. We end up spending time where our thoughts lead us to. But and this might be a chiddush for so many people, we are infinitely stronger than our thoughts. We are so much stronger than that which dictates to us how we feel, what people think about me, how far I could reach, how low I've reached. It's completely pashut sheker. It's not true at all. It's an amazing, amazing thing when you realize you are not your thoughts. You are where your thoughts are, but that's not who you are. So again, how do you run out of Egypt? My mind is so strong, but I am not my mind. I am stronger. I have to stop my mind. So therefore, Reb Nachman says that matzah is called the bread of poverty, right? What's it called in Hebrew? Lechem oni. Listen to how we're going to twist this around right now. We are not necessarily saying that poor people can't afford bread and therefore we're all poor, all we could afford is matzah. We're talking about poverty of the mind, meaning that I have no mind in a good way. Check this out. The Gemara says, Ein ani ela beda'at. A poor man is someone who doesn't think. So we always think that means poor people are just people that are stupid. They have no mind. They can't get anywhere in life. Do you realize what Rabbi Shlomo just flipped around over here? Mm-hmm. It's going to get even clearer. But on Pesach, I flip this concept over. On Pesach, I am so strong that I say to myself, I want to be poor. I want to get out of Egypt fast because if I'm not poor with dat, and if I'm rich in knowledge, guess what I can't do? I can't run. I can't do anything fast. I can't run out of that which I need to run out to, So often we think so long about processes, healing processes, and we need to go through things slowly to process things, but that eventually, okay, so I understand how messed up I am or how messed up my childhood is, whatever it was, but eventually to cross over, that's not slow. The actual jump, you can't jump if you're thinking too much. You can't run if you're thinking too much. To really go for that final jump is only if you're what? Ani bada'at, meaning that your thoughts aren't weighing heavy on you. And if you're weighing down heavy, you can't do anything. Yeah.
Why do we keep on trying to escape our thoughts in order to accomplish things? We just have Purim, and like I understand like saying once a year, we have to get beyond that, and we're not gonna like. Why are we trying to like almost destroy our brain in a way of saying like our thoughts we want to escape from? I feel the same way. It's like when I'm jumping into freezing cold water. So what you say to yourself is, the moment when I stop thinking, then I'll jump in. You just do it without actually thinking it through, because the thinking won't get you to do it.
Right.
But why is that positive? Why is that a good thing to keep on just trying to suppress my brain, as if it's like a monster that takes over me and I need to push it down or escape it?
Well, I would substitute. First of all, it's a perfect question, but I think we need to substitute two words you used: suppressed and destroyed. We're not trying to destroy our mind, and we're not trying to suppress it, and we're not even trying to escape.
So what is that?
I'm sorry?
Control it.
Control?
It's not necessarily control.
It's thinking.
Control it as opposed to being in control.
Right, that's a different thing. If you were saying that it was to be in control, that's not, I mean...
No, it's
from at
great.
least memory or
It's
something,
great
not
what you're
taking
saying.
control of it.
It's more control than suppressed, but even control has to do with thought, right? It's like what he's saying is, don't worry.
He's saying, I want to be poor, I don't even want to have it.
Letting go.
How do you say
But well, definitely means letting go. But letting go can be confusing. But letting go can mean I'm throwing it.
Money. He doesn't have money. It's not like a person who's good with money and saves well, and it's a person that doesn't have money, doesn't have seichel, doesn't. So what? I mean, why would we want to be that? We want to be the person that has money and.
Whoa. So with thoughts, it's different, and I'll tell you why. It's different than money, because when I decide to stop thinking for a second, just to enable me to jump over something, don't worry. Your thoughts will be there with you a second later. You're only giving up for the moment. It's not like we're getting to a place where I completely throw out everything. Your thoughts are going to be there because you're a human being. That's the way God planned. That's the way God designed your mind. You're not demolishing. You're not burying away. You're not trying to.
You're not erasing.
You're not erasing.
It's like I know it's good for me to jump into this maybe so I take that extra leap and like even if it takes over at that point.
Yeah. Very good.
Connecting yourself
Very
isn't-
good.
It's connecting to yourself as
One
an
second, just listen to what everyone's saying.
It's
Ariel?
connecting yourself to you as your neshama and not you as your physical body.
Right.
It's letting your neshama take control.
This is awesome.
And when it's your neshama, then yeah, your neshama doesn't have all these thoughts. It doesn't have all these things. It knows it.
Right, I agree
And
with
you're
all
able to
this, I
take that
agree
step
with-
forward, and your body's obviously right there, right behind you.
So why the word ani though? That like I agree with everything that we're saying, but ani doesn't show that to me. That's a different thing than ani. Ani's not someone who, for a second, he doesn't have money. He doesn't have it. I don't know. It seems different than what we're saying. Like our definition for it.
So, bless you. It's awesome what you're bringing up. It's a whole world of its own. God bless you. Ein ani ela bedat. The way the world normally translates is that a person that is a poor person is someone that's spiritually doesn't have a lot to think about. He's I don't want to say dumb or stupid, chas v'sholom, but he's not.
He's ignorant.
He's ignorant. Ein ani ela bedat. But here we're saying. No. That's actually a gewalt thing. One night. Pesach Seder night can't be more than one night. You're not supposed to be like this for more than one night. There's one night where you have to run. But you know what happens to you? Then you have 7 weeks of deep da'at. You're not throwing anything away. You're making room to purify the concept of thoughts, because up until now, as slaves, the slave mentality just clutters your thought instead of giving you room to understand your thoughts.
It's figuring out which of the 12 paths
Which
you're
is
gonna
your-
follow.
which is
you're going to
your-
go down. Your whole being is going through, but to determine which one, you have to just jump forward.
I guess it just seems odd to me. Meaning that concept of one night for sure makes it feel, I guess, more comforting or whatever. But the fact that we just had Purim, which was also just felt so similar to that idea of like, it seems like
We're gonna
like
get
2
there.
nights of totally losing our thoughts.
We're gonna get there. You know, one time it's on Purim it's not exactly voluntary. On Pesach, I'm choosing to get rid of my thoughts.
Remember, you lose your mind. Basically, you lose your thoughts.
Your thoughts. Which I heard a great thing, which understands why we're so crazy with Pesach and out of our minds with the cleaning. Like the story was the Kuzmer Rebbe, I think the Kuzmer, that he had a special kapata just for Purim, and for Pesach, and he was cleaning for right before Pesach, and his kapata fell off the hanger onto the floor for a second, and he said, I gotta buy a new kapata for Pesach. It's like, Rabbi, this is crazy. How much, how much can you go nuts over? He's like, and then Rabbi Shlomo said, you don't understand something? We reached ad lo yada, which means we're out of our minds. So you start cleaning for something, not like a normal person, like someone who lost his mind and is so scared that anything will come in between him and being mamish beyond. That's why we go nuts with the Nikiyat of Pesach, because of Ad lo yada of Purim, because we already reached the place of out of our mind, and now we're trying to hold on to it, but in a different way. In a very different way, but which is the same way, because really we go from Purim to Pesach, mikos lekos, from cup of wine to cup of wine. It's one long geula. Right now we're in Chol HaMoed, as simple as it is. But what you're bringing up, listen, it's great. A lot of people are like, you know what the ideal is? To throw away your mind forever. Just be heart. Shmendrik, you think God created you to get rid of your mind? You think God created the power of a brain to flush it down the toilet? God forbid. You think we'd have all these Sfarim? You think we have all this world of Torah if people kept on saying, the mind is nothing? No. The mind is incredible. But to get out of Egypt for that one night, you need to run. And for whatever the reason is, I can't run when I'm heavy in thought. Meaning there's a time for everything, and there's a time to mamish say, right now, I am shutting off my mind. Not because it's tameh, not because it's horrible, not because it's the worst thing in the world, but because it's not enabling me to run out of the darkness. I've done all the work. God has shown me miracles. I'm a slave for all these years in Egypt. All the thought processing doesn't get me to that other place. It's really the same, anyone that's had a long journey until they got married, you can meet the perfect person in the world and everything adds up and it's exactly what you were looking for and everything is sweet. There's just one problem. I can't jump. Why? Because I'm too busy thinking about all the different things which might pop up. You know what jumping is called? It's called emunah. Simple as it is. Leap of faith, which we're going to get to in a second. Very good. Continue. Good night and shalom aleichem. Aleichem shalom. Awesome. Please, can you get this down to the end? So, okay, so the Gemara, okay, now let's go back inside. We're towards the bottom of this paragraph, but on Pesach I flip this concept over. On Pesach I am so strong, I say to myself, I want to be poor, I gotta get out of Egypt fast. If I stop thinking, I become poor, I have no mind. I might be poor, okay, this is perfect, now listen, but this is the sign of utmost strength. What's the sign of having a strong mind? When my mind says to me, stop thinking. Right now there's no time for thinking. Just do it. I just remembered another, in the Torah, right after Moshe Rabbeinu, there's a whole thing of Am Yisrael kvetching again, and Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Mati tzak elai, right? Huh?
Yeah,
Mati tzak elai. Like, what are you thinking?
Jump.
It's not time right now. Like,
Totally.
that's the secret of the Torah, the jump, leap of faith. Yeah. Okay, so look what he says here. What does matzah do to my mind? Because we said in the beginning, bread gives my mind strength to think deeper, and to be deeper in thought process. Matzah gives my mind strength to choose to not think so much, so I could start running.
Matzah's lighter. It doesn't heavy you down. It's not as heavy. It's not as doesn't.
It's not menupach. It doesn't take space. Thoughts?
I think if the thinking doesn't precede it, though, you could be running down some very strange tracks.
Sister?
You have to be
That's
powered up
exactly,
by it.
no, but that's exactly why matzah is only for 7 days.
You're ready.
Right. The mitzvah of matzah, how long is the mitzvah of matzah, the actual mitzvah of matzah? Just the first day, really? Whatever, it's not really getting to, we could say we're becoming halachic shiur now. That's good, what you're saying. Huh?
Watch out.
What does matzah, 8 days, what does matzah do to my mind? My mind tells me, let go, it's okay. I know what to do. Now, I want to bless everyone with something. I want to give you all a very sincere bracha, and I'm giving, and bless me back right now, I'm begging you, that we taste what we just, before even continuing, do you know what it is? We should be blessed to taste this, that I can consciously tell myself, okay, brother, right now, don't worry, don't think too much, don't try to be too much in control. I know what I'm doing. Jump. I know what I'm doing. I've thought enough. I've thought about the whole thing enough. Whatever it is in my life, I've come to all the conclusions in the world. I did that already. Now, jump. There's a yichud, there's a oneness there between the heart, mind, and soul, which is so beautiful, that you can trust yourself. Do you know what it means to trust yourself? Reb Tzadok HaKohen, my favorite opening of a sefer. My favorite opening of a sefer is Reb Tzadok HaKohen's book, Tzidkas HaTzadik. Reb Tzadok has many books, many holy sfarim. But I'm sure you've heard me quote this opening, which I learned it the first time, and I couldn't believe it, how powerful it was. Reb Tzadok is like this. And I'm going to sound very cool that I could actually quote to you a whole paragraph of a sefer. I don't care. It is what it is. Reishis knisas ha'adam la'avodas Hashem tzarich lios bechipazon. That when you first go into the entrance of avodas Hashem, it also needs to be a jump. You know why? Because if you're stuck in contemplating whether this is for me or not, that thought, that dancing of thoughts will weigh you down. You'll never fully be in. Like many people, you'll have like 1 toe in and 9 toes out. 3 toes in, 7 out. You won't fully be in if you don't jump. And Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen says, just like we left Mitzrayim, but Pesach Dorot. But then there's a whole other thing. It's like we left Mitzrayim, but then you spend the rest of your life understanding what you just did. We have it in a miniature, in mini-me, in the 7 weeks of Sfira Sa'imer, to understand, whoa, that's what I'm made out of? That I can tell my mind to shut up and get out of Egypt? What was that? Nice to meet you. This is called Mount Sinai. And that's where you end up 7 weeks after jumping. Bottom paragraph. You see what it is? I need a strong mind. I need an absolutely strong mind to see clear truth. That I was only in Egypt because of my excuses. It might be valid excuses, but it's still excuses. So matzah, why I highlighted that, because it's such a deep thing, is like those things which prevent us from flying is that we say, look, I have all these things, these important things in life, these holy things in life that I have to take care of. I have to be a responsible person. It's true, don't worry about it. Your thoughts are always going to be there. It's how we're built. It's how we're made out of. But there's one night, God, just like God made a condition with the sea, that there's going to be one day that it'll have to change from water to dry land. Rabbi Shlomo says God makes conditions with all of us all the time, that there's a moment in our own lives that we're also going to have to change our nature. What's our nature of the mind? Thoughts, processing. What's the opposite of the nature of thoughts and processing? Shh. Lights out. Running. That's why I never understood people whose nature it is to jog. I always hated them because I was really envious of the fact that they actually enjoyed running and jogging. To me, but I was always like, really? You're able to not think too much and just go out and jog? How does that work? I think so many, like, if I do this, then I'll be tired then, and I don't know if I don't want to come home and stay. Like, all the excuses in the world why not to jump. Really, just to jump around and run a little bit is the highest thing in the world. And it's all good excuses why I shouldn't listen. You have to learn, you have to do this with the family. But it's all excuses. They're all excuses. Now, so matzah gives me such a strong mind. It gives me a super mind to not only understand, but to believe that I can start running and get out of Egypt right this minute, and nobody's stopping me. It's only this type of light which instills faith in me to stop thinking, which can get me out of Egypt. I want to say that line again. It is only this type of light which instills faith in me to stop thinking, which can get me out of Egypt. This is matzah. This is what matzah does. Everybody needs something to hold on to. Everybody has something little they hold on to because they think we need it in order to survive, right? What is the utmost we are holding on to as human beings? It's a little piece of bread, because at the end of the day, everybody really needs bread, in order to keep on living and everything, right? The holiness of leaving Egypt is that we walked out of Egypt even without bread. We walked out into the desert and we had nothing to hold on to. You know how much of a strong mind I need in order to leave that place of minimum comfort? I can leave my job, I can get another job. I can leave one little habit and have another little habit. Everybody needs something small to hold on to. But here I come out of Egypt and I'm not taking anything with me. This is absolute freedom. But it has to be fast. It has to be that night, because if I wait more than that night, it's, God forbid, too late. Who else, by the way, was mamish like this before the story of Egypt, and thank God if he waited one more second, maybe it wouldn't have happened? Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu. Let me ask you a question. What makes us Yidden made out of something that the Alter Rebbe says that there's we have built-in Mesirus Nefesh, which we can't understand. It's just in our DNA that if push came to shove, we'd mamish do the craziest things for God. Where does it come from? It comes from the story of the binding Isaac on the altar of Akedas Yitzchak. What's the secret of Akedas Yitzchak? That God told Avram something wacky. Wacky. I'm not trying to become chas v'shalom a Bible critic. I think that's evil, because it's not coming from a holy place. But that's just a very wacky thing, right? And no matter what way you look at it. What's the secret of Akedas Yitzchak? That God told him to do something, and do you know when he did it? Vayashkem Avram baboker, the next morning. God tells him to do something so crazy like that. Wait a second, I have a mind, I have thoughts, I should process this. I should think about this. What does this mean? How could I do it better? What does he really mean? How could I get out of it? The next day. The next minute. Friends, let's just be real. The things that we need to do the strongest in our lives, we never came to doing it because we sat down for a long time and thought about it until we figured out a way to do it right, or until it made sense to us. Huh? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. That's our test. Just like the water became dry land, because God made a Tanai with it when it was created, that one day you'll have to change for somebody else. It's the same thing with our mind. That there's one time in our lives to get out of our own Egypt that we have to choose to change the nature of something that's so naturally built into us. I want, just so everyone feels like we're on the same page, this is the hardest thing in the world. This is the hardest thing in the world. To tell your mind to stop thinking. Do you know how many, I have some very dear friends, they spend hours and hours a week in deep, deep, deep meditations, whether it's yoga, kundalini yoga, a bunch of different things, to be able to train the mind to calm down and stop thinking. What do? Well, we go to shul. It's like very easy. Just stop all the thoughts, right? Start mincha time. Who are we kidding?
So frolic and daven without thinking.
Who are we kidding? Who are we kidding?
People can't sleep because they can't turn off their thoughts.
Mamish. So first of all, Rabbi Shlomo said that when you fight to do this, it doesn't work either. Okay, now I'm going to turn off my apitata. You say to yourself, oh yeah. Like Rabbi Shlomo said, when you need to go to sleep at night and you can't sleep, you don't say, now I'm going to sleep. You tell a story, you're a little bit tired. Yeah, what was your day like? And you start getting lost in those thoughts. Not of trying to do something, but just telling the story of what's happening to you. But by the time you realize it, while you're telling yourself the story while you're tired, you're snoring. What are we doing Pesach night? We're telling the story of how we got out of Egypt. We're not thinking how to get out, so by the time we're already in the middle of the story, hopefully we're not sleeping, we're out of Mitzrayim. Because the da'at is used differently. Yeah.
How do you relate all this to what you spoke about last week, about how like Pesach is more about the questions? Like if it's about the questions, it sounds more analytical, and if it's about stopping from thinking, it's the opposite. So how are those
Very good, very good. If you're asking in order to understand, to get immediate answers, you're in Egypt. Everyone knows, and whoever's felt this, that when you ask, because you need to ask as opposed to I need an answer, you stop thinking about, you stop being drowned by the thoughts. You feel so free by the power of just asking something. But if you're asking because of that, I need to understand why things like this, you're still in Egypt. It's a different form of asking.
You're saying it's similar like telling the kid the story to distract him.
Well, it's a holy, but not in a mean way,
No.
not in like a deceiving way, in a beautiful way, To be distracted, you know how great it is to be distracted from our thoughts? For some people, they have maybe 2 minutes a day that they're distracted from their thoughts, and those 2 minutes a day, they're more alive and more connected to beauty and life itself than anything. Because really, we don't believe that if we stop thinking, we'll still be ourselves. The problem is, why are we so in love with ourselves in the first place if we're controlled by our thoughts? That's what I've said to you before about, don't worry, your thoughts will be there. Just have a lot more space to breathe once you jump over, once you cross over. A lot more space. Really a nigun, the power of a nigun, a real emes dik nigun. What is it doing to you? Everyone's sitting. Then you see deeper emotions going on. What are the Rebbes? What were they doing, the Rebbes? Are you thinking about anything? You're not thinking. You're breathing. You're breathing. You're not thinking. So Reb Nachman says, you all see inside, we're in the kind of like third bottom paragraph. So Reb Nachman says, Al ken tzrichim lesalek da'ato legamre. The greatest cleverness means not to think. To be clever enough to choose to stop thinking. And therefore he says that Pesach is the celebration of believing. Why? Matzah is called mechla de asvata, right? The bread of believing. Because it takes a lot of believing to believe that this is what I have to do. To stop thinking, like we called it before, a leap of faith. It doesn't take da'at to stop thinking, it takes mamish emuna to stop thinking. It takes so much belief that nothing bad will happen to me if I let go. Even if it's for a minute, nothing bad will happen to me. Now, This is the greatest freedom in the world. You know what a slave is, Rabbi Shlomo says? A slave is not a bad person. In fact, a slave can serve God as well, get married and have children. The problem is you can't run anywhere. Because most of us, I hate to say it, and trust me, I'm not just putting myself in it, I'm putting myself in the forefront of it, okay? We're a parade of thoughts. Chatterbox is our address. It's like unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then we keep on getting shocked in life as to, wow, when we have kind of moments of not thinking too much, somehow, because we're engrossed in something else. You know, I always think about this, like, why is Talmud Torah keneged kulam? Why do we say in the morning, the Talmud Torah keneged kulam? What are you doing when you're engrossed in a halachic debate, in a Torah debate? What are you doing when you're learning the Rebbe's? What are you doing? You're taking your mind and you say to tzaddikim, here, play with it. Just play with my mind first. You're telling your Rebbeinu Shalom, take it. Take it. Play with my mind. You use it right now for a few minutes. And it's being used b'kedusha. And it comes back to you afterwards and you're like, wow, why do I feel so much more alive right now after I learned? I didn't figure out all the thoughts of my life for these last 20 minutes, hour and a half. What happened? You took the da'at and you said, I'm going to become right now a free person for a little bit. That's why it says, En ben chorin. The Torah is the ultimate ben chorin. Learning Torah is the ultimate freedom. Why? Because you're using your da'at, that which usually governs you and dictates to you how you feel, and you're using it b'kedusha, with holiness. You're putting it in the hands of the tzaddikim. What a leap of faith it takes to stop thinking, huh? Just to stop thinking. So some people need to work on this and say, okay, right now I'm going to work so hard in the Torah thought, get distracted by Torah. Alavai, we should all be distracted by Torah and not from Torah. Right? That's a very deep thing. But when you learn, anyone that's tasted real learning, and bless me, bless all of us, we should taste real learning. Why do you feel like you can do anything? When you're mamish in the learning, why do you feel like you can do anything in the world? Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Because you're not a body that has an neshama. You're an neshama. You're a soul that has a body. You're actually relating to the real you for a minute.
But the paradox is that you're really cerebral at that time. Right? You're really in a cognitive place when you're...
I don't know.
No, you're not.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know.
Depends how you define it.
Yeah. Say it differently. Say it differently. Hold on. I think...
You say it differently.
No. I want to hear what you mean right now.
That you're... I don't see it as a paradox, but it sounds like it's a paradox. That you're using your mind. So when we learn Torah, we're using our minds, we're processing, we're thinking, and yet at the same time we're going to a place where we're not thinking about the fact that we're thinking. If we're lucky, we're going to a place where it just flows and it...
Right, so very good, you feel it. So that's what connects what he was saying before. The point is not to become a poor person that throws his mind into the toilet. That's not what it is. The point is that I learn a method of how to use my mind for it to stop hovering over me like a pile of bricks. And eventually just always have complete harmony, that my heart and mind are in unison, they're mamish in harmony. It's everything. Look, I told you the day I started growing payas, did I tell you this? Never forget it. The day I started growing payas was, I heard Rabbi Shlomo say that Chassidim grow payas from around here, from around where their mind is, towards their heart, to connect their mind to their heart, right? And then he said, and the first thing that Esav did, Esav Mamish used to shave Dafka right over here, very strong. Haman, we know also, used to shave this, and unfortunately, my great-grandparents, your grandparents, great-grandparents, the first things the Germans did, first thing, what did they do? They Mamish shaved right here, they shaved it off. And I was thinking wow, so Chassidus, the Baal Shem HaKodesh, his whole thing was Mamish, just, to connect his mind to so, and then and then obviously it makes sense why only Esav's head is buried in Maras Machpelah and not his whole body, because he couldn't connect his head to his soul. The Rebbe has a whole sicha on this and a lot more. But if our hearts and our mind were one, then our da'at wouldn't need to be thrown away all the time. There'd be something much higher going on. All right, I want to finish this up and really just start it. Freedom means that there are absolutely no boundaries. There are no boundaries. Not the past, not the present, not the future, nothing in the world. Now here, it was worth the whole thing just for the last paragraph. The two greatest God revelations in the world is the night of the Seder and Shavuos, receiving the Torah. Right? Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kabbalah Torah. On Shavuos we stood on Mount Sinai and God gave us the Torah and God told us what we have to do. But this is not the beginning. The beginning is Pesach, when it's clear to me there is nothing I cannot do. This is so deep. This is so beyond words, Rebbe. Do we think that Torah is something that some of us could reach, some of us can't reach? It's not for everybody. Different world today. Used to be people could connect more to the Torah. There was less distractions in the world. Do you realize that Rabbi Shlomo just said here, he just explained what the whole thing we're supposed to be doing now for Sfirata Omer, for the 7 weeks between Seder night and Shavuos? I want to read it again, and this time stop thinking. Okay? Shlomo, stop thinking. The two greatest God revelations in the world, the night of Seder, bless you, and Shavuos. On Shavuos we stood on Mount Sinai and God gave us the Torah. And God told us what we have to do. And everyone thinks, that's the beginning. The Torah, that's really that's how everything started. But this is not the beginning. The beginning is Pesach. When it's clear to me there's nothing I cannot do. When does it become clear to me that there's nothing I cannot do? When I get enough courage to choose to stop thinking. Because when I show myself that I could do that, I am most empowered. Nothing is in my way. When I can see that thing which is the most dictating thing in the world, the thought process, and I snap out of that, even if it's for a split second, when I snap out of that, there's nothing I cannot do. So then when God gives me the Torah, and it seems like such hard things, what do you mean? I was able to shut off my mind and jump and start running. I can do anything in the world. Yeah, Nate.
I would coin one phrase, instead of referring to matzah as lechem oni,
Yeah?
I would say matzah is lechem chirut. Lechem chirut, because it gives you the freedom to do all these things. It gives you the freedom to go beyond yourself. And I think that's what he's talking about.
So why do you think Chazal actually said it's called lechem oni?
Because it's a process. First you're an ani, badat, as the Gemara says, and then you can get out of that. It gives us hope to know that we're not stuck there. Just like in Mitzrayim, we were enslaved in our minds, we couldn't think. Couldn't think a thought, we couldn't daven. Couldn't say a tefillah. Shabbat ani matas ishma. Hashem could only hear our cries, the groans of Bnei Yisrael. We were taka and ani, but we got out. Matzah chirut got us out, got us into a different level where we could then approach Hashem, talk to Hashem, and be something outside of ourselves.
This is what Pesach's all about. Sorry, it's not just about it's not just about all the other things which are important, but that's what we said in the beginning. Our sustenance is not our thoughts. Our sustenance is something even stronger than our thoughts. Our sustenance to keep us mamish alive. Like again, how many people, not you, but how many people thought about their breathing since I asked you that question about an hour ago? And that's kept us alive? So in a lot of schools of thought, the whole thing is about you focus on the breath. You go back to just the breath to calm your thoughts down. And then you realize, wow, that's what kept me alive the whole time? Beneath all the thoughts, that's what's been keeping me alive. That's what's been giving me strength to even breathe. So on Pesach, you kind of like, you say shh to everything, just so that you can be able to what? To see that nothing can stand in your way when you realize how strong of a mind you have, that you're even able to be like the Yam Suf and change from water to dry land, change your mind from what it naturally does to what it unnaturally does, which is to stop thinking, just so that you could run and get the heck out of wherever you have to get out of. Yeah, Nate.
One more thought about breathing. I heard a beautiful mamar. I think Rabbi Shlomo Katz said it. I don't remember whose name he said it in front of. The last pasuk in Tehillim is called on Neshama Tahala Ya Hallelujah. He says, Al Tikre, call on Neshama, read it, call on Neshima. Every single breath you take, praise Hashem.
We should have a lot more nigunim that help us get there until we get there. Let's sing that one more time, and then Nate's going to lead us in Mariv. Ay Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, v'yazik ne'sheni samcha beis Yisrael. Allah tzadikim, Allah chasidim, v'yazik ne'sheni samcha beis Yisrael. Ayay v'sein tzachatoy, lechol abayt, lechol abayt, shimcha b'yameh, v'sein tzachatoy, lechol abayt, lechol abayt, shimcha b'yameh, la 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 la. Everyone, thank you so much for being with us. We'll continue Bezrat Hashem after Pesach, and please let's keep this conversation flowing during the week.